Hi, this is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our network at USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Thank you so much to all of our guests, to our team members, to our sponsors, and to all of our elevated listeners. Here at USA Global TV and Radio, we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. We celebrate all of our team members, all of our guests, and all of our sponsors from around the world who come and lead their lives with their hearts to help other people walk into their greatness. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. Please contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com and subscribe to our channel. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Happy Friday, happy Saturday, wherever you are in the world. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is presenting Pet Psychic AMINAH. This is not our 100th episode, so I apologize about the graphic. I think we're on 102 or so, but we do appreciate the loyalty for those of you who've been with us from the very beginning. Our topic today is traveling by car with your pets, what you need to know to keep them safe. And if you think about it, it's actually very frightening, whether you do it yourself or you see somebody else doing it. Your animals are running loose in the car. You're driving 75 miles an hour and you've got them just there with no protection. But we're going to hear from the expert, Pet Psychic AMINAH. She's going to walk us through what we need to know and what we can do. Welcome to the show, AMINAH.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
So nice to have you. How many episodes is this, by the way? Is it 103?
I think it's 102 or 103.
Okay, 102.
You and I are terrible counters.
But we know it's not the 100th because we had a really nice
we had a big party and a big banner. It's up on both our social media platforms to just be so excited about, it went so fast. In the beginning, you think, oh, I'm doing one, I'm doing two, and then you just forget after 10 because it was the work. You and I really enjoyed, I think, a hobby, passion, any of those really happy terms would work better. But the work we've done and given out, hopefully so much free information to do just better.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm really excited. I just met with someone today. I'm not going to go through the details, but we're going to be expanding onto another platform as well. So the messaging that we're bringing, that you're sharing, that our team is sharing is so important and so needed. And
Absolutely.
So I thank you and I honor you. And today's topic is a good one because our animals need to be safe as well. They're entrusting that we are going to be looking out for them. So tell us a little bit about your experience with your animals and with having them travel with you in a vehicle.
And I've had, thank you for touching on that, because I have had a lot of experience from having a very large German Shepherd join our life. He actually was dumped in a backyard of the house we were buying. And the realtor just said, oh, by the way, when you go by, because we were going by ourselves the first time, and there's a big German Shepherd in the backyard. I'm like, and nobody lives there. What was worse, there was a 12-foot minimum septic tank hole where they'd removed the septic tank, and the dog was running around loose in that backyard, which he could have fallen into. This is what I want you to hear when you talk about your cars. There are landmines, there are septic hole fallouts, there are so many ways for all of us to get injured driving, being in a car. I personally have lived through a head-on collision. Saw it coming, 2 babies in the back seat, praying they were in their car seats. Because if you know your dogs too, and you say, oh, he's laying down, he's sleeping, he's fine. I'm leading up to that. They're not fine if they're just flying around the car. That's why all the regulations now are starting to really kick in state by state by state on what you can do with your pets. Now, as you can see, I'm fine today. Yes, I have some medical issues that will go with me forever from that car accident. But my babies, 18 months old and a year and 4 years old, survived because they were in car seats, and the airbag saved me. So what do we do for our dogs, our cats, our ferrets, our lizards, our snakes? Everybody has something different. I have even seen people carry small donkeys and wild animals that are now domesticated. You can carry pretty much anything in whatever size car you have. What about a little hamster? Do you think it would be a good idea them bouncing around from side to side in your car by just being in their habitat? They make amazing little carriers that you can buy at any pet store usually, and online, of course. You can go to any of the big places and say, I want travel supplies. Now, we're not talking today, I didn't bring samples and things I recommend because I don't have small pets and animals traveling with me any longer. But the lesson still is the same to learn. And that is, I want you to, I try to make everything tips I give easy real life. So here's easy real life. We are required to wear seat belts, and most times there's a strap and a waist, because if you fall forward, if your neck is loose on its own doing its thing while you're being hit. For example, with my head-on car accident off of a huge freeway, the woman is coming off the freeway, I'm getting on the freeway, and I hit the guardrail twice. So how many times? That's minimum 3 hits. So what I want you to do is plan for the car and everybody to keep moving after you're hit. It's not one hit and pow. That's not usually the way it goes. You hit a wall, the wall will win. So what we're talking about is they make wonderful short leash harnesses. I don't recommend a collar, because imagine if you've got a collar and it has to be taut or they're thrown around, there's still too much body moving. Carriers are excellent. You can pad them. You can make it really comfortable for the animals. Yeah, you want to get them just a tad bigger than the animal is. So with my German Shepherd, it was a really big carrier, but he had a mat, was great for any accidents if I didn't get him out of the car soon enough. Luckily, we never had that. But he had a way that, think about this. If you are hit and your car rolls or goes from one side to the other, for us, we got hit. I hit the guardrail and I came back out. 3 hits. Okay? So if you're dealing with that, you have to have something in place that doesn't just restrict him like a collar and a leash. You might do a lot of damage, and it could kill the pet, depending on how bad the accident is. So let's go with carriers are safer. You can pad them. You can put cushions around. You can put blankets. God forbid they need to go to the bathroom and they can't hold it. Cushions absorb that well. And guess what? You can wash them. So this is where I want you to start thinking about, why do I need to restrain, cage, whatever my pet? Why can't they run around free in the car? Jacalyn, have you ever thought about that? Why do you not want a pet running around in the car?
Well, first of all, you can't keep an eye on what they're doing. And second of all, it's not safe.
Thank you. I knew you'd get it. Because think about the driver themselves. My dad took us all around the United States 5 or 6 times. I was the littlest. I got the really bad back seat. It was always hot. In those days, the cars weren't where they were. Well, you could talk to my dad. Sure, he could do that. But that wasn't a good idea. Distracted driving. How many people have accidents or killed because they drop something on the floor and they're trying to reach for it, or they're trying to light a cigarette, or they're trying to drink a soda? I don't know. Somebody in the back is cracking a joke that you can't just laugh and look in the rear view mirror. Children now are required by law, as far as I know, in all 50 states, and I hope other countries, to be in car seats. Why? Because hopefully the paramedics out there that we should honor have had enough time having to go to psychologists to get over the devastation of finding those children dead and having to get the jaws of life to get them out of the car, or tell the parents, I'm sorry, there's nothing more I can do. So if we do this for our children, so many people now are choosing animals over having children, and they are the same. So let's treat them with the same caution. You're not going to feed your dog or your cat just anything. You probably will stop them if they try to lick something off the ground. Same with your kids. There's no difference. So let's talk about safety in a vehicle of any kind. I don't care if it's a golf cart, a bicycle, a tricycle, or a truck. Doesn't matter.
What would you say in reference to traveling with your pets via plane or via on a
Train, plane.
well, and also
bus.
even in watercraft, I see people have their dogs out on their boat, or they're in a canoe, or there's something, and I don't know, it doesn't seem safe to me, but maybe some dogs are natural swimmers. I don't know.
But let's take that to the truth of, so they can swim 5 miles. Because if you're going on a speedboat or a leisure boat, you are not close to the coast of any coast. A dog can swim very well, depending on the dog. If you look at some of the pugs, they kind of go this way. They don't have very much. They are breeds. They don't have buoyancy.
Right.
And they're very solid, heavy. And just like some people, I know, I don't care how many times you teach them to swim, it's just not their thing. I don't know about you. I'm sure there's something I suck at. And I've always considered myself a really bad artist. But guess what? I found a modality in Canva that I don't have to compete with my mother and her brother, who are professionals and sell their work. So I grew up with artists, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's not me. But what I'm saying is, art comes in every form. Traveling comes in many forms. Pets come in many capabilities and form. You cannot say all pugs will drown. Maybe 99% of them, because they're so heavy. Their legs. and so I want you to think about that and say, oh, not my pet. But what if it was your pet? Wouldn't you want to be trained? Because if you check with your Parks and Rec, you check with Meetup, you check with these great organizations that group things, somebody out there is teaching this. Somebody out there is showing people how to give CPR to your pets. And so many people don't realize, so many times you have to cover, especially the small faced ones that are really pushed in, like a pug and that type of stuff. You have to breathe over both mouth and nose. You can't get enough breath into their lungs usually, or you could explode their lungs. Anyways, different topic of conversation. But is that what you want to be doing on the side of the road? Is doing CPR on your dog or your cat or your ferret? I wouldn't recommend it for a snake. That's a whole different conversation. But the preventative here is, there are hundreds, literally hundreds of sites that you can now get beautiful, wonderful, like sweater vests, which have straps here and a strap down that put a big piece. Imagine my hand is a big piece of fabric, but it's very close, like a really tight sweater. So if there's an impact and the animal gets thrown forward, here's the stop, with the energy being pushed out and the tightness being pushed out through a large piece of fabric and the harness going around. No more of this. This is what we don't recommend. Collars for people to walk their dogs. Can you imagine we would recommend that in you sitting in your car and then stomp on the brake and see how that works? No. Bigger dogs do better. Little dogs do better. Everything in their own crate. First of all, if they have accidents and you haven't trained them yet to let you know, whatever you decide, they're starting to whine, they're starting to run around, you need to make body stops. These carriers are now able, and there's so many types of bedding you can put in there to make it super comfortable, especially for a ride an hour or more. You need to have that kind of protection. If you're just going to the grocery store and you think, oh, we don't need a harness. No, a harness is a different thing than a carrier. A harness is necessary every time you back out of your driveway. If you're like me and you don't park your car in the driveway, every time you back out of the garage, every time you pull off the curb, wherever you want to put that, you need a harness. You need some bedding and cushion that they can either sit on or be around. You need to have them in a carrier of whatever size, and not one that sits on the passenger's lap. Because if you have an accident, that carrier is going to get thrown first. And yes, you've restricted how much, but still it's something that can be strapped down onto a seat. They have, I've just started looking into this, they have harnesses for the seatbelt for a pet. So seatbelts are great, but I'm not advocating that you seatbelt your dog in necessarily, unless you get one made for a dog of your size, of your brand, of your breed, whatever that is, because every animal has different needs. So you need to get something that fits. It would be like, Dr. Jacalyn, if I decided I love size 6 shoes, I'm going to get, I think those are cute little feet size, and I'm going to wear size 6 shoes. And you have a German Shepherd and you want to put a lacy collar that only fits a Chihuahua. Here's
Can
my
I
name.
just
I
share a
wouldn't
story?
suggest it. It'll be painful, I promise.
I just want to share a story. So I went to New York a long time ago, and I went in to buy a pair of shoes, and they only had shoes that were 6.5,
Mm.
and I'm an 8. And I said, I'm getting the shoes. They didn't
Oh
fit,
no.
but I got them.
Two
I got them,
size.
and I wore them to an event, and they had dancing, and I was out there dancing, and all of a
Oh no.
sudden the shoes just ripped apart, and I
Yep.
was on the floor in my gown, crawling around, picking up the
Oh.
pieces.
And nobody had a video camera then, I hope,
No,
on their
no, they
phone.
didn't.
Oh
So it
no.
doesn't fit, it doesn't work. But
Exactly.
to your earlier point, I want to just comment on something because you really, once again, opened my eyes. So when you said, can your dog swim 5 miles? I also was thinking that I go out on a paddle board, right? And I don't want to bring my life vest because there's one place to put it. I'm not going to wear it. It's too bulky. I can't get tan. And I never thought to myself that if something does happen and you're not near your home, how are you going to get back? You got to swim. If you
And
lose
you
you got
better
to
know how to tread
swim.
water a
Yeah.
lot, because when you get tired, so more things you need to know about me. I was a lifeguard for years. So being a first responder later and getting trained in that in my late 20s was different. But so being around the high dive, the low dive, the kids pool, coming from this type of family, do you know what synchronized swimming is? No, synchronized swimming is ballet in the water. So I did a lot of performance and all that type of stuff. So you have to be extremely good at long distance, and being a singer, I already had the breath for it because I was really working on my breathing with the singing. So this is really, really important to know. You have to have the training. You can't just read the book. I want you to read the book. I want you to watch the video, and then you need to be out in a pool, in a car, in the carrier, whatever you're learning, and try it for you, because there's going to be tweaks. Let me give you an example. I had a horse. He's now passed, and I've talked about him a couple times. and he was allergic to alfalfa. Guess what horses, it's an essential thing. It's like telling us we shouldn't have vitamin C. If you've ever been low on vitamin C, it sucks. It really sucks. You don't feel well. So this is where you need to get a hold of your Parks and Rec. You need to get a hold of your meetup groups. You need to get a hold, and if you can't find one, create it. Find somebody who'd be glad to come and teach it. Put your girlfriends, your boyfriends, your family together and learn CPR for your pet, for your family, if anything, because you don't know when those skills will be necessary until somebody either dies in front of you and says, if I only would have known. It was so simple. So many people are afraid, oh, I'm going to break a rib or I'm going to do that. You know, that's their least problem. It's a broken rib if you're pushing too hard. But saving your pet's life is essential because they're counting on you to know these things. And that's why we do these shows. That's why I want to share this with you. It's about how you breathe. It's about how often you breathe. There's a whole technique depending on the size of the person or the animal you're breathing for, because you only want to fill up the lungs. If you got little bitty lungs, you don't want to take these giant breaths and cause more damage. So getting trained, look at any of your parks program, look at any of your social programs, and guess what? If there isn't one, start one. Because you could be the reason that all your friends and family and close people and people you haven't even met get to learn to save their pets.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Great points as always. So I hope what people are taking away from the show so far is that you have a choice. You always have a choice.
Always.
And when you choose to bring an animal into your home, whatever kind of animal it is, it's your responsibility to be accountable and to be responsible for the safety and wellness of your pet. Now, pet psychic Amina, let's say someone has the best of intentions and then something happens. Something happens to them financially, something happens to them health wise, and they are no longer feeling well enough or confident enough to take care of the pet. You described what happened with a dog just left there like it didn't matter. And you know this, people do this. They just leave their pets. They just go and leave them. I just saw actually the other day 2 cats in this very high-end area of shopping center, and somebody let them go. They just they're running loose across the roads. And anyway, if someone gets into that situation, what is the best thing to do? Is it to just leave your home and say adios, bye-bye?
Well, the first thing to do would be to reach out to whoever your animal control and or shelters are. And I really want to stress the local ones. National will give you the step down, but get a hold of your local shelter. If you get a really bad answer or, well, I don't know, we don't do that, then you're talking to the wrong shelter. Keep looking. Most towns, cities have large organizations somewhere down their line. So get a hold of them. And this is simply a Google search on your computer to say, I live in Washington, D.C., who is, you know, and they'll go with the one that's, because the computer has an algorithm, who's researched the most, who's got the background. And if you need to, just call a couple of them and say, who do you recommend? Who do you recommend? Who do you recommend? Because you won't be the first call, or this company is doing something wrong. If you are, find out who your city shelter is, because somewhere in your city, you can get a hold of the city information now online. Everything's online. And you can look to see who they recommend or who they list as shelters. Guess what? Those shelters are going to be certified. They're going to be licensed. They're going to be regulated by the city and or the state. Great place to start. Don't ever stop at, well, nobody does that. Because now the question is, will you be the one to do that? to start that, to take care of that. So I volunteered for a couple of years for what's called catch and release. And what we were doing is putting out traps for, and they were humane. They were little cages, the door shut down and a little food in there. They came and trapped the cats. We would pick them up in the carriers, take them to the vets that had volunteered for our program. They would spay and neuter them, and we'd re-release them. So what we find is we can't find homes for everything. So sometimes catch and release, at least we're not creating more babies. So you need to take the wheel of this. Again, you're the parent and the pet owner. This is part of the job, part of loving. I can't stress enough how important it is to spay and neuter. Everybody wants to say, oh, my puppy, and we sold all these puppies. Well, some of those puppies don't get love for a lifetime because there's just too many out there. If you go to a shelter, any shelter, you will never see it empty. If you do, everybody should have a party because that's the goal. And that's where you're going to start with your own pets.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. A question I have about our topic that we've been discussing today, traveling by car with your pets, how to keep them safe. Does it make any sense? Would it be helpful to actually have your dog sitting up and strapped in with a seatbelt?
It does make sense. And they do make these. They're wonderful. You have to make sure you get one made for the make and the model of your car. And what I really love is I saw this just a few years ago. It was like, I don't remember the name, so I'm just going to describe it. It was strapped across the back seat. So the back seat usually have 2 or 3 seats. I'm not talking about bucket seats. I'm talking about the long couch seat, like in the station wagon. So you'll have seat belts, you usually have 3 seats in that scenario. And sometimes the middle goes up and you can tuck the seat belt away and just have 2. So on there, you're going to hook this lead line. So the animal has a little bit of movement, but not too much, and or is strapped. And what's nice is it's strapped back into that seam where the bottom and the top of the seat come into connection with the belts come in. And so what happens is it's adorable, absolutely adorable with these big giant dogs I've seen. And what they've got is a vest. Because I keep wanting to tell you, collars are dangerous, especially in a car. Please do not have your leash, have your collar, hook them up, tie them up, whatever you do in your car, and then say they're perfectly fine. Because without proper restraint, this is why the old seat belts of the 50s, 60s, 70s is gone, where it's just a lap. So many people had so many organ damages and they still broke their neck or they still hit their head on the back seat because they weren't restrained. Now we have a strap. So why wouldn't you put that on your pet? So again, harness, they make them with big pads sometimes here. So it's very, very comfortable. So it's a pad that stops, not a strap where an animal is going to struggle and it's going to leave a mark. If you are in a truly horrific car accident, imagine if you rolled over and you didn't just get hit or you got hit 3 times, that restraint has to stay intact and beneficial. This is really important, why I'm saying it so slow. Through at least 3 or 4 hits, rolls, collisions, you fall down a hill, pick something. Car accidents aren't smash and done. It does happen. But wouldn't you want to be prepared for your car rolling over, for your car doing all this? Well, the car manufacturers now do. They do prevent that. They put the strap in. Think about that. And then get one made for your dog. And it should. So many now are just great. The manufacturers are really stepping up, are hooked into the belt, are strapped in, are using the clips that already exist in the car so that they can be compatible. Everybody finds People will use your services. People will use your equipment and your suggestions if it's easy. If it's understandable, it's easy, and anybody, handicap or not, or older or not, younger or not. What an amazing lesson this would be of positivity if your 5-year-old, 7, 12, 15-year-old was responsible to get the dog or cat buckled in. And all you had to do was just check and say, hey, great, I'm gonna check everybody's seatbelt. Don't single anybody out. I'm gonna check my seatbelt. And how about everybody? We're all ready to go? Great. Now we can get to the park safely. We can get to the grocery store safely and do what we can, especially by what is already provided for us. And now with the internet, you can really shop from any country for your pets and see what other countries are doing. And maybe that works better for you. Maybe your local pet store down the street, the owner has a recommendation. We'll order it in or has it in their shop to try. That would be amazing, especially if you've got an animal that is a little strange in the size or you don't know. We do that with so many products now. You can do that ordering online. It's simple. It's easy. All I'm begging you to do is to understand why you need to do it yesterday. Don't take your pets in the car if they are not restrained in some way. Because even a carrier, even just a carrier that has a cushion for them to sit on or a puppy pad because they pee all the time or whatever, even just a carriage will make the difference in them not running head on into the glass, head on into, or will save them from somebody rear-ending you. And your pet is the one that is the first to get it because they're in the back usually. They're usually in the back. And I don't recommend dogs in the front seat because it distracts the driver. I don't know about you. I want to pet them the whole time they're there because it's very calming. Now, there's exceptions to everything. I'm not saying anything is 100% because I know some people have mental or physical disabilities, and having that pet near them creates a better driver. These people, this is a necessity. It's like me saying, okay, glasses are dangerous. You get hit, they get broken, you get poked in the eye, you're blind forever. Well, can you see the road without them? No. So there's a part of, yes, this could be dangerous. I could get my eye poked out, but I'd rather see the road and not possibly have to worry about anybody hitting me because of my glasses. It's the same with your pet. Weigh the odds. What's the benefit here? Having my cat in the front seat, I would worry. But if they curled up and they were trained from kittenhood, from day one, that this is the time to lay down and sit, not to crawl on my lap, and I have them harnessed and in a great little bed, I'm going to go, okay. Because what do you want to find out least of a new product you just bought, Dr. Jacalyn? What's the least thing you want to find out about a new product?
Doesn't work. Doesn't work.
Exactly. And in this scenario, what we're talking about is somebody died, somebody got injured, etc. It's tragic. And the whole point of this chapter right now for everybody to hear is I would be brokenhearted if I kept information to myself that I can freely give to you. And now I leave it in your lap to say, please just try it. Put a pillow. I don't care where you go first. I want you to just get there at your own time, at your own space, but doing something. Because right now, if your dog, especially the little ones, try a little kid, little dog, they're about the same. Honest. Because they get bored or they want to sit in your lap. They want to do this. It is distracted driving to have a pet in your lap. It's distracted driving to have your child in your lap. That's why it's illegal. You can't
Now,
do
wait,
that.
what about pet psychic Amina? What about we've seen this, the window is open and the dog is hanging out of the window.
It's very cute. And every vet will tell you, thank you for increasing my income. And if I can't get through to you with that statement, it means there is dust, there are stickers, there is pollution, there is trash. Everything is blowing by that car. I don't care if it's going 5 miles per hour, 2 miles per hour, 5 miles per hour, or 65 miles per hour. You cannot control what goes by your car. You cannot control the wind. You cannot control the sand and the dirt. There is glass, there is trash, there are weeds, there are stickers. If you have never seen a foxglove, what is it? It's a fox sticker. I just lost the whole last part of its thing. It is a type of weed, and it's the piece of it, and it will get stuck in your skin, and it will burrow its way down into your skin. This is what happens to your pets. They will get it in their eye. They'll get it in their ears. They'll get it in their skin. They'll get it under their fur. And no amount of brushing, you could miss it. You could miss it. So why would you risk your pet's life because they like to put their head outside the window? My halfway on everything is lower your window, about 3/4. The window's up 3/4, not 3/4 down. And they make these great little screens that you can put in the window. So it keeps all the plants and that, but it also keeps your pet's head in the car, and they can still smell the outside. They can still have the enjoyment of the breeze.
You know what gets me to that? I just want to comment on that is that I've thought this many times that people are so trusting of their pets that they're always going to do the right thing, but they're still animals. They're still, you know, we purchase them, we get them, we treat them like family members,
Yeah.
but they still have that basic animalistic tendency. And so what I mean by that is you see people who don't have their dogs on a leash or on a lead, and there's other dogs running around and they just assume the dog is never going to take off, but that's not the case. You see a dog with their head out the window, how do you know the dog's not going to see something and literally jump out of the window or
And they've
try
done
to
it.
jump? They've done
Thank
it.
you. I've seen it. I've had a client whose dogs broke both front feet. Can you imagine? She had to get a thing with wheels. And I've seen it where I've seen paralyzed dogs that have wheels in the back. She could get one for the front. Just the money. If the money doesn't scare you, it should be the quality of life. Because sticking your head out the window, we did it as kids, and we were lucky. But I know too many people that have something embedded in their eye, embedded in their face. Eyes are the worst, and it's thousands of dollars or a lost eye. Is any of this worth a great deal of fun, sticking your head out the window? I suggest you build yourself or buy it a little fake car, because children have all kinds, and now they make it for adults. Don't even get me started on these crazy things they make for that room you're going to make for yourself. And you get your fan, you put it in the front, and you put your dog in it, and you say, "Great, here's your version of the." And guess what? You cooled your house down at the same time.
Absolutely. And to your
Because
earlier,
you can control the wind coming behind your own fan.
right.
Because
Right.
you can't. Well, we've got other problems, and I'm not licensed for that.
That's another show, another story.
That's another show on another channel.
What I was going to share was that when I go for a walk, I try to walk every day.
Mhm.
Today, I don't think I'll get it in, but I always wear glasses. I wear sunglasses
Right.
or regular glasses because you don't know as you walk,
Exactly.
you might kick something up, something might fall down. At least you have some kind of protection. And so that's what we're talking about. That's what you're sharing is
Yeah.
that you're trying to do the best that you can to keep your pet safe. And
Right.
instead of looking at your pet as entertainment, oh, look at Billy with his head out the window and look at everyone looking. No, it's not safe. That's
Right.
what we're
Right.
talking about. You can have fun with your dog some other
Just
way,
not in
but
a car.
not in a car. Now, I
Would you
have a
do it in a
follow-up.
gondola? Probably not. You'd probably drown. Would you do it in one of those sky lifter things? No. I
No.
mean, think about it. It's not another thing. I'm talking about different modes of transportation. If your dog was allowed on a boat, any kind of size of boat, that's great. But wouldn't you put a life jacket on it? Because that didn't happen in the 70s and 80s, and now it is. It is a thing. If a first responder dog is wearing a jacket that says, please don't pet me, and your dog doesn't like to be pet, it's time to get one of those jackets because it's going to cost you more every time he growls at somebody and bites somebody or something. Honoring a pet, it would be exactly as me honoring you, Jacqueline, or my kids, or my neighbor, or the person that's checking me out of the store. Why would I think I have the right to say, you know, that hairstyle is just not you?
Right.
People do it. People do it. And I'm like, and how did that help you saying that? Oh, she should know that. Well, I'm sure by now she's probably knows and or doesn't care because she likes it or he likes it. I've worn some very questionable outfits and went to something that there were pictures involved. And I went, wow. I looked at my daughter one day and said, how'd you let me have the house in that? She said, I tried to tell you. You remember, I tried to tell you that is not a good look. And I went, wow, that was really bad. And there were pictures. That's how come I knew. And you're like, wow, but you can't recoup on a life. You can't get the life back because you made a mistake. And I'm not saying we're perfect, but because this information is out there, because you've now heard it, please make the process start. Look online, watch other videos, find some nice tricks and tips from all kinds of sources, and you will, I promise you, you'll find something that resonates with what you're willing to do. Now, if you find nothing, then I'm going to bank on the words I said, willing to do. You have to be willing to make the changes before you have a crisis. Because if you do it after, there might be a bigger price that you're paying than money. And it could be your heart, could be somebody else's life. If any of my pets stub their toe, or I know if when I clip their nails and I clip them too close because they wiggled or I wiggled or I just wasn't looking well enough, it really hurts me. It really, really hurts me because I know their toe's going to be sore because that nail is too short. I'm not beating myself up forever. I'm not taking it out on myself every day, but I'm taking it as a learning tool of saying, no, I'm going to cut just a tad on the long side because a tad on the short side is not an option because it bleeds for a long time and it's very painful, especially if you have cats and dogs. But cats specifically, they are digging in the sand to go to the bathroom. That's really painful. And just think about the reinfection constantly.
Doesn't sound good. Doesn't sound good at all.
No.
Well, once again, you shared some amazing tips. I do have a final question for you. Just it's kind of funny, but maybe not.
Okay.
So you said something that made me think about it. When you have the dog in the harness, right?
Right.
Isn't it possible if the dog has to go to the bathroom, if it's a boy dog, it's just going to go straight to the front, or if it's a girl dog, she's going to be sitting in it, as opposed to them being on all fours?
Well, no, because animals are not people. They don't just urinate anywhere. If you've ever been outside, I'm wondering what some people are doing. But animals are naturally very clean. They have the instinct to know that this is where I eat. We don't poop and pee here. This is where I go pee, and this is where we play. If you restrict your animal so diligently that they don't have time, they don't have a place, they don't have a safe place to go to the bathroom, and they do it emotionally, and there's have issues with some of that, then you have work to do. If it is you find out they have a urinary tract infection or some other infection, they can't help it. It hurts, and I gotta go. They're not gonna run to the sandbox. If your cat is starting to poop or pee outside the cat box, it's time to investigate. Are you not cleaning it enough? Does the litter have a funny smell? Because a lot of them are scented now for the person, not the cat or the dog, because dogs can be trained to a box. So it's time to do the research. It's time to look into what is this really about? And what I encourage you, without guilt, without any, oh, you terrible, terrible people, please look at yourself first. I recommend that all across your entire living. If you're having a conflict with a coworker, look at your behavior and theirs in that order. You're having a problem with the boss, you're having a problem with the milkman, you're having a problem with your neighbor, look inside. See what possibly might be going on that you're emanating. Is it they think you're scowling all the time, or they don't think you don't pick up your trash, and they come to find out there's a raccoon going through your trash every week and throwing it all over, and the neighbors think it's you? There are miscommunications in, I want to say, 80% of many, many conflicts. Sometimes we culturally just don't understand each other. I was raised here, you were raised there. It doesn't matter the country. It could be a different side of town, of the same city. I live in a city with 1 million people. You think any part of our town is going to have exactly the same people? No, even my family, we're all different. Be kind to yourself and do the research. Find out why it's not working. If you're stumped, that's when you come to us, the professionals, who spend their life getting to know every type of animal and every kind of situation so they can be prepared to give you some kind of new information. I spent 10 years in a wildlife sanctuary. The lions do not do the same things as the chimps, who don't do the same things as the tigers, and don't do, nobody's the same. Even 2 lions weren't the same, the way they behaved. One we could walk with, one we couldn't. Same with people. Give yourself the chance to learn something new. And I honestly say, Google it. I am the worst with trying to find the right words. Maybe your challenge is that too. Keep looking. Ask somebody, what other word would you use for this term? What other word would you use for that term? And they might, first of all, love helping you if you're a person like me, and it might be a great project with your kids. Let's find out. What's the difference between a dog and a cat? What's the difference in this? You might not be able to have pets, but you can bring that into their life by sharing things, by taking them places. Shelters are always looking for people to help clean cages and pet the pets. Look it up. There's a lot of places that will let you come and just pet the pets that don't get any other contact. So I want to leave you on this really positive note. Try something. Doing nothing, you just lose a life. You risk it every day when you do nothing.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. We have your banner up, but can you please share for people to reach out to you? And obviously, you are so much more than just a pet psychic, and you are an advocate for sustainability. You're an advocate for coexistence. You're a trainer. You're a speaker. Let people know what services you really are interested in having them reach out to discuss, or maybe just a conversation about how to go from where I was to where I am now in terms of sustainability and coexistence.
I'm the translator. I like to, I've been asked this enough times now, Dr. JACALYN, I've had to, how do I explain this? I'm the translator. And I'm not just talking about the psychic ability. I talk to dead people all the time. That's just a weird part of my gift with pets. And it's because of who I am. So what do I mean? I am the source of just the conversation. I want to try something out of the box with you. I'm going to come up with ideas that you tell me about your life. You tell me about where you live and how you work. And I'm going to make recommendations according to the facts. And everything else I can glean when you're happy, sad, mad, and as an empath, and know that, okay, why are you unhappy about this? How are we not finding, can I find new ideas for everybody? No, of course not. That's just how you find a professional that works with you. If you like a sense of humor, if you like to keep it light, if you like to have details, and I'm going to throw at you just what I do here on the show, 5 ideas, 2 to 7 ideas, because you are the coach. You are the one on the ground going to decide how, what resonates and what's doable in your life, in your abilities. And I'm going to just give you as many creative ideas as I can. With most of the time, a very short time, I'm with anybody. So, of course, I'm on an email call away, but that's not always doable when you're in the moment. So I want to teach you to see past the poop on the floor, the urination up on the carpet or up on the couches. Why are my pets spraying the couch? And give you the whys so you understand them so you can prevent it. That's the help I want to give.
Well, I applaud you for that. Thank you so much. And please do connect with AMINAH. You can find her over on LinkedIn. You can find her on Facebook. And of course, you can find her here. We have our playlist over on USA Global TV on our YouTube channel. You can look up Pet Psychic AMINAH and you can find all of the shows there. So once again, thank you for being here. And I hope you have a beautiful weekend.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it.
All right. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Bye for now. And I just want to share some updates as we get ready to close out the week here. I believe we had 27 shows this week, and my feet are going, yeah, we know, because you're standing for all of them. So I'm going to make it quick. These are some things that are coming up that you might not be aware of. Let's take a look. So in collaboration with the British School of Excellence, we have a show coming up on February the 8th. You can find out all the information on our shows about USA over at usaglobaltv.com. The show name is Lessons in Love, Deepen Your Connections and Build Better Relationships, hosted by Philip Sykes. And he is the star of our show, The Power of Etiquette and Manners. Our special guest is Felicia Kay. She is the love doctor. We also have our reunion show that's coming up. Yay! We had so much fun on the first year anniversary. It's on April the 23rd, and we'll be streaming live for 5 hours. Please go over to our website. What is it? Yes, usaglobaltv.com. Book your session, and you can sign up for that. We have some new shows coming. Here they are. I'm going to go quickly. Once Upon a Time, the Good Book Guide for Kids. This show is for anyone who offers products or services or expertise to help kids. So please go over and sign up for that. We also have the Sales Leader Roundtable, a new show exploring topics about leadership and sales acumen with 2 of our new team members, Kendley Davenport and Jim Diebold. You can learn more about them over on LinkedIn. We also have Your Story, Your Grief, Your Journey, hosted by Doug Lawrence, another new team member. So excited that people are branching out and sharing their knowledge and their information. We have Aging Gracefully with Humor. This is a story where we celebrate getting older instead of complaining about getting older. We also have Entrepreneur and So Much More with Justin Merigliani. And we also have The Earth Show. I meant to talk to Pet Psychic AMINAH about booking in for this because I think it's a very nice collaboration between sustainability and what they're talking about on The Earth Show. We have, as I mentioned, The Power of Etiquette and Manners, Hot Topic, and also a project that's near and dear to my heart. It is The Creative Heart's Awakening, the book. This is something that Dr. Madeline Chan and I really felt a calling to do. It is for people who are creatives. They have awakened and they want to share their work about how they've awakened and how it's changed their life. So what we've done is we put together 3 packages. I'm not going to go into them, but between $66 and $237, somewhere between there, you can have yourself, your headshot, your work, your photographs featured in one chapter of your book, and we actually write the chapter for you. So if you're interested in that, please do reach out. You can find more information on our website. You can always contact me. And as we close out, I just want to give a couple more announcements. We have another new show, which is I'm Spiritual But, and this is with Ann Scotland and Dr. Roger Leslie, a very good show. It's been on for 3 weeks so far. And then another new show, which this is a dated show title, so I apologize, but Talking Peace Around the World. This is on the second Monday of each month, and we have internationally renowned broadcasters joining us for this. So we have Helena Shard, Ian Pelham Turner, Al Cini, and Daisy Gideon talking about what can we do collectively as humanity so that we can have more peace in the world. And then finally, if you're not aware, we have a number of courses. If you are interested in learning how to listen at an elevated level, if you're interested in making a difference in your life, deeper connections, better relationships, we have coaches here who will help you bust your stress, find your voice, and nail your interview. And I've joined together with Caroline Heward, Madeline Chan to provide coaching at a very special offer. You can find out more over on drjacalyn.com. And then we also have a course that is for anyone and everyone who is on Zoom, StreamYard, Facebook Live, presenting meetings, wherever it is that you're presenting and you're sharing content. How are you showing up? There are literally millions of people who are broadcasting and doing podcasts, and not all of them have the skill set to do what needs to be done at a professional level. And so in this course available on Eventbrite or over on our website, usaglobaltv.com. The art of being a professional interviewer is explored by myself as well as some world-renowned broadcasters. I personally didn't know a single thing about broadcasting. I have over 1,900 shows under my belt. I mean, I think we're close to 2,000. I have to double check. And I've learned so much about what it takes to put together a professional production. Some people are just getting on Facebook Live or Instagram Live and they're doing their thing, and that's great. But you want to differentiate yourself. You want to stand out, and I teach you what you need to know in the 2-hour course. I also do coaching if you're not available for a course, but you can book in for this. February the 7th is the first time we're offering this course. And if you can't make it, you can sign up for the link. You can buy a ticket to get the link and then watch the course at any time that you want. So thank you for listening. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to close out with a video of a song that I have written with 2 other people, Dr. Madeline Chan and Mariska Duprier. The song is called Listening Lazies. It's performed by La La Music, and the song is an extension of the book that we have written called the ABCs of Listening, Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And you'll see that on the video. So you can actually go over to Spotify or iTunes or anywhere where music is sold, and you can download Listening Lazies. It's for children and it's for parents, it's for families, learning how to listen without being lazy. We pick up bad habits, we don't listen to each other, and we wonder why our relationships don't work. Let's take a look and a listen to Listening Lazies. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Monday with a full week of broadcasting. God bless you. Take care of yourself. Be good to yourself and be good and kind to other people. That's what we need for all of us to join together and lift up one another. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. Thank you for being here.
When we speak, we don't hear. It's abundantly clear. Listening lazy creeping, and nobody's gonna win. Look someone in the eye. If you don't, they surely will cry. You don't hear a word I say, 'cause you always look straight away. Listening lazies drive people crazy. Listening lazies making us blue. Listening lazies, communication goes hazy. Listening lazies, listening lazies. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Listening lazies drive people crazy. Listening lazies making us blue. Listening lazies, communication goes hazy. Listening lazies, listening lazies. When you interrupt your friend, you will surely have to make amends. Lady Ella knows the way to help you listen better every day. And what's that?
It's listening lazy.
Ba-da-ba-ba. Listening lazies drive people crazy. Listening lazies making us blue. Listening lazies, communication goes hazy. Listening lazies, listening lazies. Listening lazies drive people crazy. Listening lazies making us blue. Listening lazies, communication goes hazy. Listening lazies, listening lazies, listening lazies.